Krill. I'm just logged in to play T94 of PB15, and at the moment I'm just trying to sort out volume for music that I'm listening to. Unfortunately, I can't add a lot of music to this stream because I'm uploading the streams to YouTube, and they just get, and I'm likely to lose them to get all my videos deleted due to copyright infringement. So, yeah, I apologise for that, but oh well, safety first. So where are we? I'm looking at Commodore. He does not give a damn about my warrior. He's just defending his stuff. He's moved a settler out to plant a new city. Why is he planting it there? Desert Hill, Oasis. 2 unique plains hills, jungle, a load of peaks. That is a bad city location. I do not approve of that. I'd plant it too north. I'd plant that city too north, and damn it that it's on a flat land, who cares? The hills aren't anywhere where Sado would approach. That's a bad choice. I think you should settle. I think you should settle here. You'd have sheep first ring. You'd have the wine, 2 grassland tiles. That'd be a better place. Anyway, that's not that important. So let's just go back and look at everything. Oh, that's not. Okay, I just saw that is shown as 50% equal. So so basically, we both have 14 culture into that tile. I didn't think we should have 14 culture into that tile. Or rather, I know I would. I didn't think he'd have 14 culture. It's not that relevant though. Thoth's going to keep on improving it, and I'm going to get it. So that's that. There is now a road on this tile. I can tell because the road on the hill goes down. So maybe there was one there before. I didn't look. I didn't care. But there's now. But because I'm leaving the worker there undefended, there's always a greater risk that Commodore does something about it. Whatever. Looking around, I see Finn and Fat. They're still large. There's no change here other than Thoth moving an immortal. Well, yeah, other than Thoth moving the immortal under the archer. What else is there around here? So there's nothing I can see. I can't see culture. I won't see culture until this novice city pops borders, or novice tries to plant a city up here. He might try and plant a city. He might plant a city too north of the wheat to try and hold this area. I don't know how. That might be the best location he tries to sell. I don't know. I'll talk more about what Thoth can do in this area, because novice I can just go over quickly. It doesn't matter too much. Thoth it's more important to discuss. Nothing over here. Nothing from Pindicator. No change. Novice has played his turn. He's left his stuff on there. I don't entirely know why. Yeah, I don't know why. Well, he's defending it, but he's defending it against what? So there's no real changes for this turn, from what I can see. Nothing's finished. Nothing's been built. No wonders have been built, so everything carries on. So, what shall I do now? What am I going to look at first? Okay, so what have we got here? I'm still researching horseback riding. There's no changes there. Some people have asked me when who am I going to attack with horse archers? Something I need to look at is actually when I research horseback riding, because whilst I'm saving gold now and I'm putting the beakers from the scientist specialists into horseback riding, I don't know when I'm going to get it because I get the well, the great scientist end of turn 100, I think. Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, end of turn 100. So 101, 102, 103. I get the academy. So turn 103. I can turn research on back on, and at that point, I will have if I generate 30 commerce per turn, 30 gold per turn. I'll have 94, 95, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll have 9 more turns to save gold. So I'm going to have almost 300, 270, 370. I'm going to be getting close to 400 gold saved then, which is equal to 63. So costs are only going to increase, but they shouldn't increase too much because I'm not building units, I'm not planting new cities. Yes, I'm growing population, but they are working new commerce tiles. So I'm making about 100. Now I'm making 120 with a scientist making an academy. I'm looking at making, what is that, 30, some growth. Wait, something's wrong. Oh no, that is the right move, isn't it? Yeah, I was doing that. This is the layout I'm going to leave this city in this turn, but I'm just trying to work out the commerce. An academy is going to add at least 15. At least 15. More likely it's going to be getting 17, 18 with additional commerce growth. So I'm looking at making at least 150 base speakers per turn, at least. But that's and that's not really counting too much. I mean, I've got a gold being hooked up, a whales being hooked up, working a fish, growth of other cities onto commerce tiles. I mean, there's lots of ways that I'm looking at increasing my bigger rate. 150 base though is, I mean, I think I'm looking at more like 200 adjusted. So like 200 beakers per turn into construction, into currency, and I'm going to have enough gold saved for at least six turns worth of research. So I reckon I can get currency there in 3 turns. So I could get currency in 3 turns, and I'm going to have enough gold then for probably to 1 turn horseback riding. So I'd do for say 4 turns. So I've still got 2 turns worth of research left that I can do lots of things with. Like I could put it towards construction. I couldn't quite finish it, but I'd be getting close. But that's not counting what would happen if I lose pyramids or the Great Wall. Now this is important because if I lose pyramids next turn, I won't get much. I'll get 100 extra gold, enough for considering the extra gold I'd have saved for maybe 8 turns worth of research. If I lost the pyramids turn 100, just saying turn 100, because it's a nice round figure. 94, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got another 7 turns worth of production. That I'm going to be not getting 100 gold from the the wasted hammers. I'm going to be getting closer to 250. I mean, so that's pushing it up then to something like 10, maybe 11. If I lose the Great Wall, it's not so much. I mean, it's like that's basically rounding at the moment. That might give me 1 extra turn or not, but I'm looking at having enough gold to get a significant amount of tech very quickly. Currency is not worth too much to me. 8 commerce per turn is less than 8% of my my tech rate. But there's the chance that I might not do horseback riding immediately, and I might go for something slightly more different. I might go for something like aesthetics and literature. Aesthetics enables me to get shredded Pompeia with gold. That's 225 hammers for 8 culture and all the village and civics, which is quite nice in the front city. I could build Statue of Zeus, 200 hammers for +3 experience points in a single city. I'd do that in Rejodonga because whilst it's not immediately useful now, so it's very useful in getting late game getting units to commando, or just with a single great general. Like if I were to run build a barracks, a stables, vassalage, theocracy. Um, what's that? That's 5, 9. I mean, that's 12 with the Statue of Zeus. I mean, that's 12 experience points. I mean, I'm getting a significant. That's 3 promotion. Is it 12? I can't count anymore. Yeah, it's like I'm getting a significant proportion of sorry, no. And then I put the heroic epic in that city. I can one turn horse archers, war elephants, catapults, anything. I can get a lot of very highly promoted units very quickly to attack people. But it would delay the time I can get until I can start building horse archers. To the extent that other people might have horse archer stacks wandering around, and I can't realistically attack people. In fact, I'd be running the risk of being attacked myself, even though still have pretty good power. And still number 1, but not by much. So I've got choices on when I research horseback riding, and that's going to affect who I attack. I mean, that's affected by when wonders fall, if I get them or not. And it's also affected by when I plant these 2 cities down here. I want both of these cities. I consider them mine. I'm not this question mark here. This one, I definitely want. I ain't as concerned about the one down here for the sheep. I want it, don't get me wrong, I do want it, but I don't care so much. If I get this question mark here, I basically cut off this route in, that acts as a front city. Otherwise, if I were to let Thoth take all this land, he can I basically have a very narrow empire, and I can be attacked in a lot of different places at once. Get these two cities, and that's basically the front. This is my southern front. There's no real way to approach this question mark, and this is then against Pindicator. So these 2 cities are a very good front. However, they'll cost me a lot of gold to settle these 2, to the extent that instead of me generating 30 gold per turn now, I'd be generating maybe 10. That would affect how much gold I could get saved. It would affect how long I could take as well, because my cost wouldn't be 63, it'd be close to like 80, 90. So I would have no choice but to get horseback riding, because if I didn't, there's no way in hell I'd research it anytime soon, and I would be at risk of being invaded and dying to horse archers. So all of these decisions are linked now for me. They're all very important questions and very pertinent to what I want to do with this game. A lot depends on what Thoth's going to do, because Thoth is the only person who really can settle this area here. If his beaker generation is pretty crap, and it's not that bad, I don't know how long he can research for, but if it's pretty crap, he won't want to settle cities that give him no commerce, have no food, and are just a drain on his economy for longer. And they don't necessarily do much for him, it's just another front to defend. He'd be extending his front against Novice. He'd suddenly have to defend. I can defend with 1 stack of units and defend all my cities. He needs units over here, and he'd need units all the way down here. He'd need like twice the army to defend. So I don't think Thoth wants to settle this area, but because it's not really worth it for him. But I've got to be aware that he could try and do it just to annoy me later in the game. So I need to stake my claim to this area and get it settled at the earliest possible opportunity, but that doesn't mean I settle them right now. Like, I don't drop everything I'm doing and whip out the settlers. I need to figure out how I'm going to get the workers down here and everything, and to improve these cities and make them not a drain to my economy. And that's a very and right now that's like one of the main things I've got to consider. I mean, right now what my workers are doing, they're focusing on hooking up the Scar Award to here tomorrow big, so that I've got an easy. Instead of having to go all the way around the mountain chain, I can just go straight between the 2. Got the reset cottaged up to the eyeballs. and improving Do Not Die and I'll carry, get the gold done, the fort, so I can improve the two seafood tiles. I'm focused on my cities aren't focused on building units because I can't afford any more, other than the defensive spears to defend against potential horse archer, a horse archer rush from anybody. Because I said I think other people could have that tech by now and be building horse archers, and I've got nothing to counter them. It's like, so I've got a few things that I've got to keep on top of now. I'm not going to go through an exhaustive list of like every single option I can do. That's not something I really want to do right now, because frankly that's not going to be much use to anyone, and I'd be here for a very long time. But I can say what I have, but I can say what I've considered I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to keep on building mids. That's like, I'm going to do that because if I get the pyramids, then a lot of my economic worries go away. A lot of people actually at this stage of the game, like if they had a monopoly on currency, wouldn't bother as much with the pyramids if it was still there. They would go for the Mausoleum of Mausoleus, which is a very interesting wonder because of how it gets used. The Mausoleum of Mausoleus, or however you pronounce it, gives extends Golden Age length by 50%. So instead of using a great person to get 8 turns, I would get 12. On the next one, instead of using 2 to get 8, I'd get 12. So it's like the more so obviously the more great people you get, the more golden ages you can have. The longer your golden ages are, so the more great people you can generate. So it feeds back into itself really. The problem I find with it is that it doesn't do anything until you use that first golden age, and it doesn't do anything then actually until you hit the 9th turn of that golden age, because you could do everything identically without spending 450 hammers on a wonder, and you still get those 8 turns of a golden age. So really you've got to measure up the value of it, and I'm not saying it's a wasted wonder and it's really bad. It's not. It's really, really good, but it fits certain playstyles better than others. I personally have difficulty making use of it because I don't like using a lot of early golden ages, which is what you really need to do to get the stable working for that wonder. So what I'm instead going for the pyramids, which is pretty much immediate payoff because you get the pyramids and then you can run any of the government civics. So hereditary rule I don't really need because I don't need the happiness, but representation would give me beakers. It's not much, but 3 beakers per specialist and a bit of happiness. No complaints about that, because it doesn't cost me anything to get them, whereas the hereditary rule happiness does. But the beakers mean that I've got the food to run scientists. If I ran 2 scientists in, got the reset, hit them big, the Scar Award, ARAM Collusion, and Say Baron again. If I was just running scientists in these cities, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 10 scientists going through at least 25% beacon modifiers. So instead of making 37.5 beakers per turn just from those scientists, I'd be making double that. So I'd be making, 75 beakers per turn. It's like that doesn't and that also obviously stacks onto great scientists that I settle in Got the Reset, which actually would have an academy as well. So just from that, I wouldn't have to worry about my per turn tech rate. I could just be like, yeah, fine, whatever. Or if I wanted to be a real nut job, I could go to police state, build 1 billion units and hurt people. That's a perfectly legit choice, in my opinion. I mean, so I actually value the pyramids more, but that's because of my playstyle, and because of myself looking at the map and realising that I've got a lot of cities that can afford to run scientists, or any specialist to research. So to me, it's like I value the pyramids and going to go for that. I also value it for denial purposes, because I don't want anyone else to have that advantage. It's not that. I mean, if I lose it, I'm not that concerned. I don't need it. I don't lose the game just because I don't have it. But I'm aware of what it can do, and I think that for me, that's a more useful wonder than any of the others. The Great Wall's just me being greedy, and that I've got nothing better to build and got the reset. Other than building the Mausoleum of Mausoleus, which I would never finish in that city in a billion years because I've got no hammers. Right now I'm going to just focus on finishing the Great Wall by end of turn 98 using 2 forest chops to get the city to from 90 hammers to 150. I'm going to make 12 hammers per turn for 3 turns. I'll make 36 hammers, which puts the Great Wall at what is it, 81 hammers, and then I'll move off that and onto a cottage, which I've spent 4 turns pissing about making with a worker, which I shouldn't have done. Should have done the mic. I wasn't that bothered though. I was going to work. I would work the cottage, but this way it shaves a turn off the Great Wall. I considered leaving it. I considered just carry on working, like not working either of the hill tiles, and just working the farm and the cottage. To put that into perspective, as I said, I can get it end of turn 98, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so that's 5 turns for me to get there. I mean, to get to 90 hammers plus the chops to finish it. I mean, this way, I would make 7 hammers per turn, so 5 turns would get it to 70, and then it's like 3 turns longer, basically, to finish the Great Wall, if I do it that way. Now, I'm not that concerned, really. I mean, I could go slower and grow the cottage earlier, grow the city faster, but I kind of want the Great Wall simply because, I mean, barbs aren't a problem, but I want to stack the Great General points when I fight in my lands, because I basically get 2 Great General points for every 1 experience point I get through a battle. In my I can't remember if it's multiplicative or additive, but either way, it's either 1. If it's multiplicative, fighting in my land, I've got 1 experience point, I'd actually get 4 Great General points. I don't think it's that, because that would be so fucking overpowered. Like, I'd need to win 8 battles, and I'd have a 8, like 90% battles, and I'd basically have a Great General that you just, I'd get so many Great Generals so quickly it would be unreal. But even if it's just additive, it helps me get the Great Generals, and I can then either settle them into Donga, or, which I'd probably do with all of them, except 1, which I'd use to unlock West Point, which is a level 5 experience, a level 5 unit. So it's a unit with, what is it? Oh, if I just, well, no. Which a level 5 is one with 4 promotions. So if you look at Chariot 2, which is my heroic epic unit, I'd only need 17 experience points to get there. It's not too many, so, but yeah. So I just make a medic 3 Chariot and leave it at that, or a medic 3, or a medic 3 warrior potentially. But yeah. The rest of my cities, as I said, I'm kind of focusing a bit on vertical growth, but as I said, I'm looking at getting out a settler from the Scarab Ward and a settler out from Sea Baron again. Doesn't mean that I'm going to settle immediately, but if I've got those settlers in position, like get those settlers out now-ish, I can move them down, and then I can just use these 3 workers that are around the Scarab Ward to improve the sugar. I can then split them up and send out 1. Well, I actually think I need to. Wait a moment. I've got this worker here, worker A. I can use worker A and one of these 3 workers to just saunter down and do a road. And a road all the way down isn't actually that useful to Thoth to invade me, because it's not going towards him. It's going parallel to him. It's actually going perpendicular to Novice, but it's so far away it won't matter. He'll invade me from another route anyway. But it would enable me to have greater control over this area, because any units I have can be deployed to this area much more quickly. I mean, it won't cost me anything other than the unit supply of having the workers out here. There's no barbs in this area, so I can easily use the workers, and Thoth won't necessarily see there's going to be two. Like, there could be two workers down here. You might only see one of them going down slowly. Um, so that's what I'm planning on doing. I mean, is to get that road down, and then once the road is in place and the workers are both free, I'll actually use them to improve it quickly. I'll actually need to irrigate a lot of land, but there's only so many tiles I can irrigate. I can only irrigate, actually, this tile, this tile, this tile. I mean, like, these three aren't that bad for this question mark city. That's not a problem, but for the southern city, there's only this one I can irrigate. And then for like this question mark city, there's no irrigatable grasslands that can be split off to it. It's, in fact, it's a very shit city, this one is, because there's only the plains hill sheep, which is worthless as food. There is literally nothing here. This city can never be slaved. In fact, I need to plant that city and then chop two forests immediately for a granary. I'd have to steal this irrigated grassland and then just grow it at 4 food per turn onto anything I can get. I mean, I'd want to grow it onto the. I've got a pot borders, obviously. I'd mine the grassland hills and encamp the ivory. But I'd have to. But it doesn't grow that high, because if it only makes. I mean, realistically, it's only going. I might even just leave it at size 5, working the ivory, the sheep, and 3 grassland hills. This question mark. I mean, I'll just use that farm just to grow quickly to size 5. So the sheep farm, 2 lakes, tiles. Then when it grows to size 5, redeploy everything. And this question mark city, again, if it's only got the sheep and 2 farms, it can only grow it. It's only get +6 food per turn. So it's one. It's like the sheep, both farms, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which actually is every single useful tile there, other than the 3 grassland tiles. So like, this city's not too bad. It can go to size 9, but this one's fucking useless, basically. I just have nothing to do with that city other than to put some culture into it and just leave it there. It is a dreadful city until I get a lot of tech. So until I can windmill the hills, until I get civil service and it can spread irrigation to all the grassland. That city just doesn't do anything. It's a problem with the dot map, but there's just no food in this area that I can use. The only other way is to split off the corn or something. I mean, there's no way to split off this banana anymore. Not with the way that Thoth planted his cities. There's no way I can. The 2 sheep are too far apart, and the only way I can get this, I can technically dot map by planting a city here, but to get the sheep and the wheat. But it's still not got many grassland hills. It's all desert hills and plains hills. There is just frankly no good way to dot map this area. So I'm actually less interested in this question mark city. I'm more interested in this one, but I can't plant this city and keep it defended because it's just so easy to cut it off. Cut the roads. So I really do need a city on there, grow it to size 4, and just leave it and push culture. So okay, so that's a bit about the strategy. I've talked about how I want to plant these cities, why I'm planting them where they are, and I've also said that they do negatively affect the tech rate, and how that affects how much I can research for how long, and therefore what I can get. So it's all a balancing act. Ideally, what happens is, but I don't plant the cities until I've saved up all that gold I can. I've got the academy left, then I've spent it all. At that point, I should have all of the relevant tech that I need. I can get currency for extra trade routes in every city. I can get horseback riding, and I can get most of construction. I won't have ironworking, as nice as that is, but I don't need ironworking. It's still something I want, not something I need. If I were to lose all the wonders and get an additional 400 gold out of it, then I'd be looking much more surely at going going for literature, going for the Great Library, the two epics, getting Statue of Zeus, Sweating on Pain, going up this route and going for wonders. I would also obviously get horseback riding in there, but it's how I time it. Because I'd probably time it along the lines of getting aesthetics first to start Statue of Zeus in Reijerdonga. Then I'd get currency, but I'd have to consider swapping those two around. Then I'd consider construction. Because then actually it depends on the build time. If it took me 8 turns to finish Statue of Zeus without forest drops, I'd actually want to get literature done 8 turns later so that I can then immediately build the heroic epic. Although I'd need to consider where I'm going to build if I wanted to go for the Great Library, because if I could get that, that'd be very nice. I like it just for the free beakers. Screw everything else. I like to build it in a city with academy just for to get the multiplier on the beakers. But I'm weird like that. Anyway, I'm going to go through the worker micromanagement. For me to get the Great Wall end of turn 98, I need to chop both of these forests. One moment, I need to calculate this. If I were to chop... I need to make 10 hammers per turn. No, I need to make 9 hammers on that last turn. Which might mean I need to take over the... this grass hill. Because if I chop this forest, the lumber mill, it goes from making 3 to making 2, I believe. 2 hammers per turn. I chop this hill, it makes... I don't even want to work it, I want to work a cottage. So I'd actually not making 12, I'm making 10. And I'm working that lumber mill. That is not a lumber mill, just a... Oh, actually it'd be a lumber mill without a forest, so I think I'd be making 2. I would make, at that point I think I'd be making 9 hammers per turn, but I could be wrong, in which case I might have to swap over. Should still be doable, but I need to whip both forest drops on turn 98. That means that I need to move on to them on turn 95, then chop 96, 97, 98, finish. So, work at 8, can move here 94, on 95, and then chop 96, 97, 98. So that's actually what's going to happen. This lumber mill is a bit more difficult, because I actually need to finish irrigating now on 94, and then move on 95. There's no way to get another worker there efficiently using the roads. So I've got to just move over and suck it up, basically. But I finish farming now, and I move on. Yeah, move on next turn, and then chop 96, 97, 98. I'm going to finish this road. Screw you, Commodore. If you can kill it, kill it. Yeah. I can move... Next turn I can move the spear onto the grassland hill, and move the worker to improve the sugar. It'll still be unprotected, but it's just as dangerous where it is now as on the sugar. Build a plantation. That's straightforward one. This worker, I don't think I'm not paying for unit supply, but it doesn't matter. But the workboat, I move down, and then actually I'll leave it where it is. The workers all do the fort. I'll leave that worker for a moment just to check, and I'll carry. Borders don't pop end of this turn, they pop end of next turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on chopping this turn. I'm going to chop this. No, okay, I'm going to start chopping this turn, because I don't want to move the worker out and then move multiple workers back and potentially pay for one of them in the supply cost. So I'm going to chop with one now. I think it's perfectly safe. I don't see anyone doing anything aggressively to try and kill it. I'll look at you later. So yeah, I've said worker 8 needs to move onto the grassland forest. I'm burning worker turns now just to get this done safely and quickly. So anyway, onto the worker 7. I was irrigating, and I'm probably just going to leave it there. Let it finish. Next turn. Next turn I've said before that Say Baron again was probably going to focus on growing, so I'll move off the settler and onto something else. It will not be a workboat. It may just be a spearman. It is likely to be a spearman, just so that I can leave one spearman in each city to gain fortification bonuses to defend against a horse archer or two. But I'll get a spear. No, sorry, get a settler, swap onto the spear, and grow for 3 turns. That means I have to give up the sheep, though, which means that ARAM Collision needs to give up the sheep and pick up something else. It's a bit sad because I could grow the city in 2 turns. What I'm likely to do is I can just work the farm and it'll still grow in 3, but it's making 3 food, not 4, so it's a bit sad, but whatever. Doesn't matter that much. ARAM Collision's got Naffle to build as well after this. I might even build a worker there. Another worker just literally because I might need it. You can have too many workers, but I think I've already got 10 for 8 cities, and if I'm improving these 2 question marks, roading down, then trying to improve these 2 question mark cities quickly. God damn it! I don't even have to improve them quickly. I just need to improve the sheep, and then mine a hill tile. I need to find a way to pop borders because there's no easy way. I might actually. I don't know. It's always working as sheep. I might just mine 2 of the hills. I don't think I even need 2 workers to do that really, but I will have 2 workers. I'll just move them both to the road, then mine and move them back. But if I'm doing that, then I'll also need 2 workers to chop forests for the question mark. This one here. Actually, I'm going to change the name to question mark exclamation mark. That's a good one. And colon. And the filler city the filler city ought to be the question mark city, to be honest, because it's fucking awful. Percentage or hash will do. So yeah, so hash is some point in the future. Colon doesn't matter right now. Colon is not an important city. But yeah, I'm going to need workers to keep on improving these, to improve these new cities. But I'm not going to have all these cities like completely improved. So I am going to need to build some more workers, I think. So I might build that worker at size like next turn here. Might not. I don't know. 5. I might just build into a spear to grow a size and then do it. No problem. Anyway, I'm going to move. What do I do with this? Just move him. Okay, that's it. Arguably I ought to delete that warrior, but I'm a sucker for not deleting units. Anyway, to explain got the reset how it's going to work hammer tiles and try to get Great Wall end of turn 98. Here tomorrow big, it finishes the spearman. It's going to save, overflow out 2 hammers. It's going to grow, overflow 3 food, save 16. So it's going to be at 19 and need 34. So that's 15 food total needed. It's going to end up working a farm or a coast. Either way, it can grow in 3 turns. But it hasn't got much else to build either. So I might build a library, because this city is perhaps the best national epic city I've got. With the improved sugar, the corn, and the bananas, it doesn't have to work all of the hill tiles and the whale. It just needs to work the silver. But it can work 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can work 6 specialists at size 10. The silver needs a farm. So that's size 12. This city can easily get to size 12, working 6 specialists still putting out decent commerce. Um, that city is literally like going to be the best national epic city that I've got, just to quickly pop out great people. There's no others with quite that level of food surplus. No, there just aren't. Just aren't. I mean, Do Not Die is perhaps the only one that can come close, working 4, 5, 6 with a farm. But it's also a beautiful site to produce units with all those hammers. So that city's probably going to sit. So that's going to be a hammer city. But yeah, Here Tomorrow Big needs a library to build the national epic anyway. Um, so yeah, I want to build a library here sooner rather than later. And he's got the food anyway. I want to work the scientist because I've got naff all else to do with the food. Other than slave, which isn't that productive to do 2 and 3 pop slave. So yeah, might build the library next. I might build a settler, I don't know. Nothing special. Grow for 5 more turns. Grow for 5 more turns. The worker 9 that's just on the plantation is going to mine the hill. Moves on next turn. And then it'll mine for the following 3 turns. The city will grow, and then the mine will be complete before I end turn, so I will not lose any hammers at all. It'll work the ivory at size, and the plains will, yeah, work both those at size 9, making 25 hammers per turn. And that'll just blow down the pyramids at the end. If the pyramids get lost, what will I do? That's a question that I can't really answer because it depends on when. I've said before that I think Novice is building the pyramids because that's the easiest way to explain his increased manufacturing, increased MFG. Because he's not building units. There's nothing. He's not building cities. He doesn't have currency, I think. He doesn't have currency. He can't because he can't trade gold, so he can't be. I don't see how he's got. And he can't offer open borders, so he's not got alphabet, so he can't build research. So there's nothing else he can really be putting hammers into. So if I were to lose pyramids this turn, I'd have nothing to do but build the library. If I were to finish it, if I were to lose the pyramids just as I was about to start tech, I could set up to max overflowing and then do tech aesthetics quickly and then build the statue of Zeus in 8 turns. That wouldn't be so bad because that's a long-term investment in that. As if you're building a unit a turn, those 3 experience points add up. They do add up. It's very difficult to measure the value of experience points into units because it only really matters when you start fighting a war, you attack people. It's the value of having better odds in battles and how quickly you can get units to the next experience point if it doesn't make a difference. Not to the next promotion. If it doesn't quite get you to the right, so it's difference between being 4 points away and 1 point away. Win 1 easy battle, you got an extra promotion. So it's a very hard one to value, but I'd probably go for it. I could build a settler. I mean, if I grow to size 9, I stagnate, and then then pyramids is lost. I'm not near getting horseback riding or any other tech or for Statue of Zeus. I could just build a settler. Making 25 hammers per turn base is what, 6 plus 6 plus 3 is 15, 40. So basically, I'd be looking at I could finish 2 settlers in 5 turns. I don't know how the rounding's obnoxious though. I wouldn't quite get it done because of rounding. But yeah, that's not something I'm thinking about. I'm just going to wait and see what happens because I could evaluate it for every single turn what the build path would be, but I don't care that much, and I've not got that much free time. ARAM collusion doesn't fucking matter. It just works whatever's given to it. So yeah, swap off the sheep and onto a grassland, or maybe onto a hill, and make a worker. I don't know. I don't care. I would like to build Shredagon Payer. I do want to grow this city. If I lose mids and I don't chop these forests, they'll definitely. I'd almost certainly build Shredagon Payer here, the culture would just be so useful to fuck over Narvis for building all those cultural buildings. It would cost 225 base ham as well, with those 60 for those two. That drops it down to, what is it, 140, 165 base hammers. If I grow this city can easily make, what is it making now, 7, 10, 14, 15 hammers per turn. So I can get there in 11 turns. So to build that, so that's a reasonable item. So I do want to keep on growing this city because it would need to be minimum of size, 6, 7, 8, minimum of size 8. It's almost a size 7, but it can get there. And again, every little helps. Just working a few, the plains forest for 10 turns would shave a turn off that. So every little pop point helps here. So I'd rather not build the worker, but there's not much else. There's no way in hell I'm building hanging gardens, and because that requires an aqueduct. A mausoleum, just don't even fucking go there. I could really do with currency actually, just to build wealth, because that would be useful. I don't like building wealth for like a single turn between builds, but if I build it, I don't mind. I'd rather build it in a city for 10 turns or something. Say Baron again. If it steals the sheep, it'll regrow to size 5. Work a cottage, and then I can look at slaving out the settler. For 1 pop, I'd only need to build the settler for 1 more turn. Like, dump the overflow, grow, work the settler for a turn, then 1 pop, whip it. And it could build anything. Spear, probably, to grow. I've got nothing to whip here. I said I could build the settler, but I'd rather grow it to size 4 and then potentially whip it. But size 4 or size 5, it grows in 2. It'll then grow in 3 to size 5. A lot depends on the horses as well. If I can get that improved easily, if I can get it improved easily, then I obviously don't want to. I want to grow to at least size 5, 6 if I was going to do a double whip. I whip the barracks this turn. Yep, barracks is done. That culture will enable to pop and get the fish. I'm going to build a workboat after. The reason I say a workboat now is because I don't care about what else to build here. The library doesn't matter. I don't need the culture. Aqueduct doesn't matter. I don't need the health. The walls, this city shouldn't be attacked at all, so that's completely unnecessary. Units, no. Again, I don't want to build units. I'm already building spears in a lot of city. I might actually. There is a good point here that I could actually build the mausoleum and try and build it in this city, because I'm just putting hammers towards it. If I lost that, it wouldn't matter. I'd just get some gold. Don't care. I've got nothing else to build. I'd build wealth here if I could. There's nothing else decent to build. I could build a library and work scientists rather than the Plains Hill mines, but I'd rather work Plains Hill mines once I get currency and can build wealth, because then I can raise the slider and the commerce can go through cities that already have libraries, or through the academy capital, rather than spend 90 hammers just to get the same modifier I already get in other cities. So I actually might try and build a mausoleum here. It'll take a long time, but this city once it hits like size 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, can hit, what is it, 25 hammers per turn? 10 plus 16, 27 hammers per turn, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And if I wanted to stop halfway through to build horse archers, I wouldn't care. I'd be willing to do that and just leave mausoleum there, in case someone else got it and I got fail gold. So I'd be happy with that. So yeah, I think I'll actually do that. I won't build the workboat, I'll actually build mausoleum, because what that means is that I can build a workboat from Say Baron again afterwards, and I could actually slave both the workboat and the settler. because by the time I need both of those, by the time I need the workboat finishing at least, I won't need to work in these scientists anymore, so I can whip that pop away. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to build the settler here, and then build into that workboat. I can then dump the overflow into that settler, and do that. So yeah, that's the way I'm going to go with this. Nothing special. Build spearmen, borders pop, hook up 2 resources, work them. That's about it. Nothing special. It's not an amazing city. It's really not an amazing city. I don't want to cottage any of the grasslands. Can't really use the... I could use the hills, but I don't want to use them now. I don't want to get finished spearmen this turn. I couldn't... I could, but I don't want to. I'll build the spearmen to 34 out of 35, and then I'll stop, and I'll build something else. Probably an archer. And build into that for 8 turns or so. Just want to work the gold, want to work the cow. And again, I'd like currency and build wealth because I'd be quite happy with that. Horseback riding would also be decent. This city can make an easy 9 hammers per turn, almost 10 hammers per turn. Just working the gold, the sheep and the cow. Does that. That's 5 turn. Horse archers, it's not too bad to add keep on adding to the pile. That's pretty much it. That's this turn. So I'm going to go through. I'm actually going to take pictures of everything this turn. So that'll show that I'm about to get the horse. Thoth's doing that. There's no changes in many places here. Should have taken a screenshot of the settler, but I didn't bother. Now I'll go through the cities. Take this screenshot now. The F5 cities isn't the most not F5. The F9 cities isn't the most important screen in the game, but it does show who builds what wonders. It shows that Novice has a monopoly. Generally, it's the cities with the highest culture accrued atop, and those are almost always the cities with wonders because of the amount of culture they produce. Got the resets size 9. That's why it's so high, because because size is really the next indicator, and actual output of the city hammers, because gold that also factors into the ranking here. And obviously larger cities will produce more because they've got more labourers doing stuff. Demographics. Just edging above Thoth. It's by such a minuscule amount, it doesn't matter. Rival worst is Pindicator. It's obviously not going well for him, but that's fine. Novice is working a hell of a lot of hills. So many hills. Trying to build. I mean, forge. He's got a forge. That's also. He's got, well, not a forge. He's got about 5. He's industrious. What do you expect? So he's adding up. The fact is that he's 14 ahead of me. Is a significant amount. All the same. I'm not even slaving much so anymore. So that's very realistic factor. GNP is not so bad. I'm 3rd. I'm saving gold. I've got joint most cities. And I've got a decent. Well, I wouldn't say tech edge, but I do have maths and calendar, whereas a lot of other people have code of laws, which isn't the same beaker value, isn't not even close. whilst other people probably do have horseback riding by now. But if they don't invade, that doesn't matter. So I'm pleased with the GNP. I hope that it improves. It continues to improve. Getting that gold hooked up is worth an additional 7 commerce. So I mean that's pushing it towards. I mean getting the gold hooked up, getting that whale hooked up, that's an additional 2. I mean then I'm looking at 40 gold per turn saved. It's a significant amount to me to do that. I mean a few turns ago I was making 14. So yeah, the more I mean I could be looking at between 6. I mean if I were to settle these cities, I think I'd be lucky to get 4 turns worth of tech out. I could be looking at anything between 4 and 14 turns of 100% research. If I were to get 14 turns out, which is my aim, which is why I'm trying to be conservative with planting cities, I really am going to go for, in some order, calendar, literature, horseback riding, ironworking, and construction. I don't know if it's doable. I'm going to ignore alphabet because I don't think I'm going to get open borders with anybody, and I don't think a 450 beaker tech is worth me trying to get an extra 8 commerce per turn. Every city with currency it could be 16, so it's not too bad. But the payback time's too long, and I can't afford that. I'd much rather have horseback riding for horse archers, catapults, war elephants, and to go for the Great Library, national epic, and all of this stuff. So yeah, I mean, if currency's 3, that would again improve my tech rate with the ability to build wealth, so I could tech for longer, the extra trade route, and a market, and I could build a market. And that'd be 3 turns. It would be about 4 turns, I reckon, to get horseback riding. Not like 3 turns out, and then an additional turn to get horseback riding. Maybe it might take longer, so but call it 4, because to do ironworking as well would take me 1.5 turns. So call it 6 to get ironworking, horseback riding, and currency. Aesthetics 2.25 ish. Because if I do all this after currency, it's closer to 2. I mean, so that would be looking at 8. It would take me 1 turn to get mist and polytheism. 1 turn together. 1 turn's worth, but it would obviously take me 1 turn's worth of output to get those 2. So it's 2 turns to get them, but I'd actually overflow out the beakers. So the way I try and do it is I'd finish aesthetics with 0 beakers overflowed, and I'd do mysticism in 1 turn, polytheism in 1 turn, doing 100% for both, I think, and then I could just get literature in 1. Let me think about that actually to make sure. Yeah, I could do that in 1. So it'd take me like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if I can get it at that point by 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12, 13, like 14 turns for construction. I mean, it's like that's how I'd do it. At that point, I would just shut off tech, and I wouldn't care for a while, because I've got the ability to build swords, to build horse archers, to build stables, to chop jungle, to build several wonders that I wanted. Statue of Zeus for 1, the 2 epics, the Great Library. I'd have the trade routes to be able to build markets, bridges, war elephants, catapults. I would have a huge tech edge there. I'd be looking at what, 3, 7.5, 12.5, 18.5, 21.5 still, 25. Fuck them, I don't care about them. So that 2,500 beakers. Other people wouldn't be close. I would have a tech edge if I could pull this off. So that's one of the reasons why I don't care about the pyramids and losing it, because if I get a good chunk of hammers into that wonder and I lose it, instead of me getting a per turn advantage from representation, I'm going to have so much gold saved off that that I can get a lot of tech, and I will get an immediate tech advantage, and then I can use it. Whereas if I were to build a mausoleum of Mausoleus, if no one can race me to it, and I can't lose it, then I have to wait to get great people to get golden ages and to do that. So I'm actually delaying that advantage. Mausoleum of Mausoleus is a late game wonder that power manifests by the late game. The pyramids, to me, that could be the key that wins me this game. Depends on it depends what Novice is doing, because Novice might actually be signing his own death warrant by doing it. If you think about it, if he gets the pyramids, he builds it for me. I get the gold. I then get the tech. He can't. He's got good MFG now, but I'm not even. I'm still growing most of my cities. I've only got three of. I've not even got three of them fully grown. I mean, they're not fully grown. They are still growing. He doesn't have a happy cap. He's at the happy cap now, working those mines. He's got to go and not only match me for military tech. He'd have to match me for. He'd have to get all the economic techs as well, or he'd just be relying on pyramids and running scientists. But he can't run scientists and grow. He can't run scientists and work hammer tiles whilst at low pop. So he might actually be making a strategic error here if he is going for pyramids, and I've deduced that correctly. Anyway, so there's a lot going on, and a lot that seems to be I don't know if it's been said or not in other people's threads, if other people have commented on it, but there is a lot going on in this game right now. There's a lot to be understood. I mean, I've not even mentioned how Commodore affects everything I do, or about Sudoa and his attack on Pindicator, how that means I don't expect to defend and I'll carry at all. I've not even talked about Scooter. I mean, but then again, there's nothing Scooter can do that really affects me, because or I can do that affects him immediately, because we're not neighbours. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this game. A hell of a lot going on in this game. So it's a very interesting point. Unfortunately, we're also going to be going on a hiatus over the weekend, so I'm hoping that I can play one turn tomorrow, turn 95, but I'm not going to then be able to play a turn until Sunday evening, because Sudo's going. I don't know if he's going what he's doing, but he's not going to be around for the weekend. So yeah, there's going to be an hiatus. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This has been a very long stream. Actually, it's been over an hour now. And I hope it's been informative to people. I'll end up doing a report for this turn tomorrow. It's tomorrow on Friday. Yeah, with all of the pictures and a bit more of a written reasoning, but shouldn't be anything new there. Anyway, I hope people have a good evening, and in case I don't get to play a turn tomorrow, have a good weekend.